Yeah.
What's good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. We're going to get into TNA Unbreakable from April the 17th, 2025. This show was not a good show. TNA should be ashamed of themselves. They are allergic to trying new things and trying to reshape TNA. They're afraid for whatever reason. But this show felt like a piss-poor television show. And the only reason why they did it was because of this is the kickoff to WrestleMania weekend. So this is why they did this whole ordeal anyway. But it is what it is. Most of the show pissed me off. So this took place at the Cox Pavilion venue in Las Vegas. So I'd imagine, I think maybe probably 2,000 to 2,500 people showed up to this event. I think the way it was shot and everything else, and from what I saw. So it was probably about between 2,000 and maybe 3,000 people there. So, yeah. So this leads us into the first match of the night. Zachary Wentz, JDC, and Eric Young, triple threat. TNA International Championship Tournament. None of these guys are international at all, period. So Eric Young wins. Screw this. This is whack and lame. Dumb. I don't understand why they continue to push Eric Young. Eric Young should be gone. All right? If TNA has the power to get rid of Gail Kim and Scott D'Amore, surely they have the power to get rid of Eric Young and Moose and Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards and Steve Maclin, Sami Callihan, and so many others on this show that need to be over and done with, and shift off to either like MLW or the Indies or GCW, or maybe go to Tony Khan's ROH or NWA. Just get them off of the show, please. They're ruining this show. They're ruining TNA's progression. Shit. So I was already heated with this. Moving on, we had another TNA International Tournament match. Ace Austin, Eddie Edwards, and Steve Maclin. Steve Maclin wins. This pissed me off because Ace Austin should have won. Why? Because later on in the show, Chris Bay ended up showing up, and that would have been great for Ace Austin to win. And really and truthfully, Ace Austin should have won the International Championship. But it didn't happen. Moving on. So, this leads us into Gia Miller having a backstage interview with both Frankie Kazarian and Tessa Blanchard. Frankie says Gia asked the dumbest questions and says Joe Hendry is injured but fighting, and tonight is the appetite to the main course. Tessa says Gia is dumb too, and says that she pinned Masha Slamovich twice, and that Masha is overrated. So as Frankie works on Joe Hendry, she's finishing on what she started with Masha Slamovich, and says that Masha's built on hype, but she's built on results. I'm like, damn, really good promo there. I'm loving some Tessa Blanchard. Again, I'm hoping that TNA turns this into an actual feud, to where maybe Tessa Blanchard ends up losing at Rebellion, and then maybe you do the rematch at, I guess, Under Siege in May, and then you have Tessa actually win the championship at Slammiversary. That's what I'm hoping that they do. I really am. Moving on. So, this leads us into Moose versus a mystery opponent. And it ended up being Sydney Akeem, a.k.a. Script/Reggie from, WWE and NXT. Good stuff. Glad that Reggie's in, I guess, TNA. Probably not. He probably just, being there just to be there. I think he is from Vegas, so that's why he was there probably. Moose ends up winning via the spear. Who cares, man? Fuck this shit. I'm over this. Ugh. The first 3 matches on this card took me out. Like, I ain't gonna hold you guys up. I was pissed during the first 3 matches. Because I much would have rather have, in the main event, I think it should have been Zachary Wentz and Ace Austin along with AJ Francis. And then you have Ace Austin win. That's what I would have done. Moving on. So this leads us into Mike Santana and the Hardys versus Mustafa Ali and the Nimbus. The Hardys end up winning the match. Match was okay for the most part. Towards the end of the match, Mike Santana and Mustafa Ali, they brawled into the backstage area. Basically, they were taken out of the match. Mike Santana, he shows back up like maybe 2 minutes later. He ends up spin the block on Ryan Nemeth, and then it's allowed for Jeff Hardy to hit the Swanton Bomb for the 1-2-3. Okay, good stuff there. So, it is what it is. Moving on. So, the System, they're sorry asses. JDC and Eddie Edwards, they beat up Zachary Wentz backstage and leave him laying. Oh, my God. I feel so bad for Zachary Wentz. I really do. I can't stand Eddie Edwards. Moving on. So, we were in the crowd right before the Joe Hendry and Monster Slamovich match took place. The mixed tag match took place. So, Victoria Crawford, a.k.a. Alicia Fox, she was there. So, that was pretty cool. Also, Debbie Gibson was there. So, that's really cool. And a TLC star was there. I forgot who it was. I can't remember his name. Not the group TLC, but the network TLC. So, I also forgot to mention that Sean Merriman, he was on commentary for this, so that's pretty cool. He was on commentary for the Moose and Reggie match. All right, that's fine. Forgot to mention that. So he had a couple of celebrities there. Does this mean that Alicia Fox has signed to TNA? Could be. She's been out of the loop for a minute. I think she got released from WWE during the pandemic. I want to say, was that at the start of 2020 or 2021? I'm going to go and say it was probably at the start of 2020 is when she got released, and she's been out of wrestling for like 5 years now. So that's pretty okay to see her there. Do I think she'll wrestle? No. She very well could be. She very well could align herself with Ash and Heather by Elegance, the Elegance twins. I could see that happening. That would be quite interesting if we're being honest. Main reason is because Alicia Fox was known for doing like character work. She was still kind of that late phase diva when she came in. I think in like 2010, 2012, somewhere around that. She that was like basically like most of what she did. She was just doing diva stuff. So it is what it is. So this leads us into the Joe Hendry and Masha Slamovich versus Frankie Kazarian and Tessa Blanchard mixed tag match. Joe Hendry and Joe Hendry and Masha Slamovich get the win. Makes sense here. Kaz took the pin. So Joe ends up winning via standing ovation, which makes perfect sense. Good stuff. Good stuff. I figured they would win. I kind of wish this was the main event, really, because the main event was so fucking bad on this show. Like, this really should have been the main event. Ugh. Moving on. So Mike Santana, he's backstage. He's pissed. He tells Santino Marella that Mustafa Ali is playing games and he's sick of it. Mike Santana says that when they get to Rebellion, he's begging for a Falls Count Anywhere match. And Santino Marella understands, and he says that Mike Santana has got it. Santana says he's going to end this in L.A. Okay, that makes perfect sense. I do like this. I got a feeling that they're going to probably end up pushing Mike Santana probably pretty hard, because he's probably the second or third biggest babyface on the show, because Elijah, he gets pretty good reactions and he's pretty over. So yeah, so you could put Mike Santana in that number 2 slot, but the top 3 babyfaces are for the men anyway, are probably going to be obviously Joe Hendry. And number 2, you could debate between Elijah and Mike Santana. But the crowd really loves Mike Santana, and I like him too. I just don't know how long he would have as TNA champion if he were to win the title. I think what they'll end up doing with Mike Santana is probably end up giving him the TNA World Heavyweight Championship probably when Joe Hendry leaves. And that could possibly be either at the end of this year or maybe sometime next year. So maybe as we go into 2026, maybe that's when he gets his moment. Because he should, because Mike Santana is good and he's over. But I don't know if TNA is going to give him like a long reign. They probably won't. They probably give him maybe like a 3 to 5 month reign as champion. Because TNA, they don't really typically do long reigns. They just don't. They kind of like say, okay, well, you've had it for like 6 to 8 months. It's time for you to move on. So, there's that. Moving on. So, Ace Austin, he's out there next. He says, tonight's a special night for a lot of reasons, but one in particular. He said there's someone standing behind that curtain who's been through hell and back to see all of them. It's his honor and pleasure to introduce him to a man who's truly unbreakable, Las Vegas' own Chris Bay. So Chris Bay shows up to a really good reaction. Him and Ace Austin, they embrace. Ace Austin's super emotional. Chris Bay gets on the mic. The crowd chants for him. Chris Bay says, "Hello, world." He says, he is, he was, he is, he was. No. He's the ultimate Vanessa, your girl's favorite wrestler, Chris Bay. I like that. Chris Bay says it feels good to be back in TNA. He says 172 days ago, he had an accident in the ring that changed the course of his life forever. He broke his neck and paralyzed himself. And truth be told, easily the scariest and most embarrassing moment of his life. He was embarrassed because he wouldn't finish the match as he wanted to, because he loves this so much. But thankfully, the quick response from TNA and medical staff in Detroit saved him. But his future was uncertain because doctors said he had a low chance of walking again. He poses, and Ace points at his legs. Chris Bay says that he worked tirelessly in the REM room, medical facility, doing occupational therapy and physical therapy. He shouts out the staff who worked with him. He says Ace Austin never left his side, never stopped believing in him and supporting him. He was a real brother, and he loves him. Chris Bay says day one, outside of saying it's day one, in his heart and mind, he thought he'd never walk again. And then he had to remind himself who he was, feel the love and energy of all the fans. He beat the odds thanks to them, the TNA crew, the locker room, and everyone walking at home. He's standing there, and look at him now. This was great. This was great. He said he did it because the crowd. He said he did it. So the crowd chants, "You're unbreakable." They did it because to steal a line from the world champion Joe Hendry, they believe. Chris Bay says he owes Joe Hendry $20 now. And then there's a "We Believe" chant that breaks out. Chris Bay says it almost broke his spirits and definitely broke his neck, but he looked in the mirror and reminded himself that he's unbreakable. That we are unbreakable and that TNA is unbreakable. All of this is the greatest story ever told. Great stuff here. I love this. I love this. This is why I wish that Ace Austin would have won and advanced to the finals. Because this was really good. This was excellent stuff here. I am so thankful to the creator above that Chris Bay is able to walk again. A lot of wrestlers who get neck injuries and stuff like that, they aren't able to. They have a real poor quality of life post-wrestling. So I am thankful that Chris Bay is able to still walk. Hopefully he can come back into the ring. He more than likely is probably going to have to change his style completely. I doubt he'll do any more high-flying moves anymore. You just don't want to take any chances. But I'm glad that he's back. This was great. Moving on. What was not great is Sami Callihan versus Mance Warner. And a barbed wire massacre match. Who cares? Sami Callihan wins. Fuck this shit, man. Like, fuck it. Like, Sami Callihan is just like his brethren, John Moxley. They can only wrestle one type of fucking match. Oh, my God. Who cares? And this shit went on close to 20 minutes. Man, fuck this shit. Moving on. So, Elijah, he showed up. So he did a little performance with his guitar. He said that there's going to be an Elijah Open Challenge at Rebellion. He puts over Unbreakable and everything else. And then this leads us into the main event. AJ Francis, Steve Maclin, Eric Young to become the inaugural TNA International Champion. Steve Maclin wins. He hits the KIA on AJ Francis. Eric Young just stood and watched him win. And they even said on commentary, the person who doesn't get pinned gets a shot at the championship. So it's going to be Steve Maclin and Eric Young at Rebellion. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God, this shit sucks. Moving on. So we go backstage. The Nemeth brothers, they find an invitation. So Ryan Nemeth shows it to Nick Nemeth. Nick tells them to open it with caution. They open it. So then we see some CGI effects. They're shown on the screen. So Bret and Matt Hardy appears and invites them to the Hardy compound for a final deletion. And that was the show. So I guess it's going to be a final deletion at Rebellion. That should be interesting. So we're going to do a bunch of cinema photography. Good stuff. Nice. Interesting. Cinematography for the win. It's going to be, my bad. It's going to be a cinematic match. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. It's going to be a cinematic match. That's cool. Interesting stuff. Hopefully it's not going to be too long. Maybe you can do maybe like a 10 to 15 minutes. I think that would be fun. So, yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. TNA might do this as the main event for Rebellion, possibly. But I doubt they will do that. That'd be dumb if they did that. There's no sense in doing that. I would do it on the card, obviously. It's just I wouldn't have a long, drawn-out time for it. I would maybe go about at least no more than like 12 to 15 minutes. I think that's fair. But TNA Unbreakable was not that good of a show. TNA still refuses to take chances and try new things. It was kind of okay to see Alicia Fox there, so apparently she's probably one of the new signings. Also, I forgot to mention, apparently TNA signed 3 new international talents. They've not revealed them yet. I'm pretty sure we'll get the reveals at Rebellion. I don't know why TNA is doing this. Just tell us who they are so we can know. But we'll have to wait and see. But I was not a fan of this show. This show was fucking boring. But what did you guys think of TNA Unbreakable? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.